Welcome. Take it up with Jessica Lee. I'm here with Harpreet Duggal, who is the Senior Director of Product and Partner Marketing at SkyKick. Hi, Harpreet. Welcome to the show.
Hey Jessica, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Would love to talk to you about this whole cloud migration and the security of data, management of cloud information. It's been a trend that's been like many years now, actually, but it just accelerated even more during this COVID time when everyone's working from home, right? So welcome to the show. Please tell us what's innovative at SkyKick.
Awesome. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Jessica, and hello to your viewers. SkyKick was founded over 8 years back on the promise of making the cloud, the promise, the productivity, all the vision of the cloud far more approachable to small and mid-tier businesses. Because at that time, I think it was really mostly reserved for enterprises. And what you need to make technology much more approachable for small businesses is to make it economically feasible for the service providers, the channel, the MSP industry, or the managed service provider. And that's where we have catered all of our kind of focus on making it more profitable, easier for them to do the things that often involve a lot of technology. And what I think about SkyKick is we use the benefit of technology and automation to solve a business problem. And that business problem is making sure that there is a good, strong economic case for these partners, for these service providers to help SMBs. And that's where we are motivated.
Yes, it is true. The smaller companies don't necessarily have an army of technical experts to help do everything in-house, and it's so much more convenient to just pay for a managed service provider to handle the IT aspect. So very smart strategy to be focusing on the MSPs instead of going directly to that SMB client. And you are now, SkyKick is the leader in the migration business, particularly for the Microsoft Office 365 business. You have a third of the Microsoft partners as your client. Is that right?
We have a fairly healthy market share in this industry. And when we look at around 80,000 IT service providers that serve this market in a managed service capacity, I think the last public figure that we have released is over 25,000 of those partners are really on our platform, right? And we take that privilege with a lot of responsibility and with a lot of humility. And that's where we have used the opportunity to really always ask ourselves, what does the channel need to take us closer to our own vision, which is how do we bring 1 billion SMBs into the cloud, right? And that has led to a lot of innovation. You're absolutely right. We started this journey with a product that helped migrate emails and inboxes, if you will, right, on mailboxes from on-premises to the cloud. But over time, we have built more and more products and more innovation to map to what does the channel need, right? What do the partners need to be successful? So that's where we have been.
I see. So you've expanded beyond just the migration. You have the backing up and the security for the data, and then also this management tool for the MSPs to manage many of their SMB clients.
Yes, Jessica, you're so spot on. So what we've realized is often enough, the very first step that most SMBs are taking when they move into the cloud is taking their mailbox and email systems. That's a very core scenario. They're taking that into the cloud. But once they are there, they really want to feel that they are protected. They are secure in the cloud. They hear about these stories every day in the media about how SMBs and other businesses are always being subjected to ransomware, security threats, all these incidents. And that's why we created a second product that backs up all the data that the SMBs are creating in their cloud journey. And that is always available as a great insurance policy that inspires them to really think freely, to innovate, to go where they really want to grow, want to go as kind of creative businesses. And once that takes hold, that sets up a good chain of even greater cloud adoption. And that's where our current focus is this new product around managing a series of workloads that the SMBs have in the cloud and making it really effective, efficient, and cost effective for these managed service providers to manage that with automation, with security, just with much greater control and greater quality of service for their clients. So that's where we're going on the management product.
And the trends that you're seeing is that the SMB companies, they want to have the MSPs manage, take over, not just the utility products, but beyond that, right? The management to the edge.
Once again, I think you're hitting the nail on the head here. Based on the research that has been done in the channel, some of which that we have done and some that other players like Microsoft have done, between 60 and 70% of the SMBs that are moving into the cloud are really saying very clearly that they want to rely on a trusted provider, right? That can guide that journey, not just be a provider of wiring and plumbing, but really guide that journey all the way to the edge, right? And when we look at it, that trend becomes even more important in the current times when, as we go through COVID, lots of these SMBs that even might have been holding off on cloud adoption are suddenly seeing a tale of two cities. There were SMBs that were largely in the cloud, and they came away with far little damage and little disruption to their business than the ones that were there on premises. And what we feel this is going to create here, a good data point here is nearly a 63 or 64% increase in the number of users that Microsoft Teams had after COVID and before COVID. That's a drastic jump in a small space of time. And if you extrapolate that out, we feel that in the next couple of years, we'll see a hockey stick of cloud adoption, which will be, of course, a great thing for our partners. And thus, with humility, the role that we can play in helping those partners and those SMBs.
Great. Well, I know that your role in doing the research and talking with customers to try to really understand what's important to you as you're looking at the product roadmap, right? Tell us, how have you been able to get such accurate insights to then help build out what is truly needed in the marketplace?
Yeah, I think, as I said, part of it all begins with an honest relationship and value that we have delivered to the channel. And that has manifested into over 25,000 partners working with us. And they recognize that we treat our partners truly as partners. We learn from them and they learn from us, right? It's a very collaborative relationship. So the biggest source of insight by far for us is really that channel of partners and our engagement with them. Secondly, I think we really think of ourselves as an extension of an ecosystem that includes Microsoft, lots of even our competitors. We are collectively discovering more and more insight about where the market is going, right? And that is what has led us to shape our vision of our product portfolio. And the way we frame up our product portfolio is that there is a migration product, which is really starting on the right foot, right? Starting on a foot where the partner, the service provider has the automation, all the engines of technology working for them as they take that first turn, bring the customer into the cloud. It is about protecting it with the migration product. And then really it's that third step where we've been focused the last couple of years developing deep insights with our partners on what do they need. And that is where partners come in and talk about an average SMB customer today has 30 plus SaaS apps. 30, right? And we started this journey a few years back where we're thinking about, can we take an SMB into the cloud even? And what is that first workload? Maybe that is Office 365. And today, as we look at, obviously, that continued adoption of Office 365, when we look at where is that productivity journey going second? And that is where scenarios like endpoint management, security really start to creep in as very core to that cloud adoption. and then the 30 plus SaaS apps that I talked about. That is where we have created a product that brings all of that, like, DNA of automation and technology to help these service providers, number one, give customers a much faster response time in all of the support and management, right? That's the quality customer experience side of it. Secondly, do it on a basis of technology and automation that reduces cost. So increases efficiency, because that's very key here, right? Because this is at the end of the day, this is a volume business, right? In the SMB, you have to be price competitive. And the third one is really building security in as a first class citizen into the core management stack. And we feel that when we do that, our partners are telling us this is what they need to really do that step jump, right?
So Harpreet,
Yeah.
I think that the moving to the cloud's been going on, but you mentioned earlier that there's a hockey stick growth in the adoption of the cloud by the SMB market. So tell us about the future. What are you seeing as far as the adoption, and I'm sure COVID is probably accelerating a lot of this too.
No, absolutely. I think there is two trends, and there is almost like this perfect storm that's been created in a good way, right? One of them is like we think about, like, where are we in this cloud journey in the SMB marketplace? Like billions of businesses here, where are we in that? And we know from data that we are roughly about 20 to 25% adoption rates right now in the broader SMB ecosystem globally, right? If you go to markets like the US, some more developed markets, you find slightly higher numbers. If you go into markets like, Australia and some of the Nordic countries in Europe, you find very high numbers. Just organically, I think their motion was better suited for the cloud. But by and large, we're still very early stage. So we're in 20% adoption rate. So typically the way technology cycles work is that once that first 20% or that early majority, early adopters as they're called, right? They come in, they create, like, really that propeller effect. They create an example for others to follow. And naturally, we were going to be almost in that stage of the game now. And then COVID has really, really accelerated that inflection point. And we feel that over the next 3 to 4 years, we are really going to have that majority in the bit, like, middle, that 50% zone in the middle of the market really come in and embrace the cloud. And that is where there is a great opportunity, like, for our partners to really guide that journey with customers. And if we can play like a small role in that, from a technology perspective, that's what we're inspired by.
I see. So I guess some companies are suffering big time during this COVID time, but actually you guys are benefiting from the fact that it's pushing everybody to migrate to the cloud now that we're all working virtually from home. And there's a lot more development on your side to help the MSP providers manage those SMB clients as billions of them jump onto this migration.
Yeah, I think while as, like, humanity, there is nothing good about, like, what the world is going through. We always look at, like, how can we help our channel? How can our channel help our customers? What is the point of need? And the point of need for a lot of businesses today is continuity, security. The point of need for our partners is how do they economically contain costs even more than they were previously, because there are some incremental cost pressures. But as they do all of that, how do they preserve that quality of service, that customer experience, and even make it better in the cloud, right? So it shouldn't be I'm going into the cloud, but I'm missing out on all the, like, tender love that I get from my managed service provider in an on-premises engagement. It's like you get the best of all worlds. So that's
Excellent.
where we think about it.
Give us a bit more information about this management, the third product that you're trying to help MSP providers be more effective in managing the SMB customers.
Absolutely. No, thank you for the opportunity. I think the way we look at it is we are an extension of our partners, right? And what our partners tell us is if they look at the journey from going from the on-premises world, classic IT, legacy management, to this cloud IT management, it is really a story of ballooning complexity, right? What used to be 5 customers before that you had very intimate relationships with, long running engagements with, maybe is 50 customers today, right? That you're bringing cloud services to. Each of those customers maybe have had like 2 or 3 applications before. Those were line of business applications. Today it might be 30 SaaS apps, right? And you do all the like multiplication on it, and that fast becomes a question about ballooning complexity, right? What might have been a couple of hundred total endpoints that the partners had to manage before now are thousands of endpoints. And that has led to a lot of cost burden on the channel. It has led to some cases where I think customers have very high expectations, and it creates pressure on the service providers on being able to meet those expectations. And the third is obviously the ever-present threat of security. So the more you have to stay on the reactive and contain costs, manage for those things, the less opportunity you have to think about security. So those 3 challenges of quality, efficiency, and security are what we are trying to help manage for help enable successful solutions to for our channel. That's what we're doing with our third product that we call Cloud Manager.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Harpreet, for being on the show to talk about the cloud migration adoption by SMB, how you're helping the MSP providers do that. Appreciate you sharing about the innovation and the trends and also your thoughts on the future.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jessica.
There you have it. Check it out with Jessica Lee, Harpreet Duggal from SkyKick.